everyone. Welcome to Mission to Inspire. My name is Shola, and we've got our guest here with us today. Her name is Katrina Robertson, right? Is it Robertson? Is the T silent or is it?
Well, it's Robertson. So
Robertson.
Robertson, yes.
Okay, right. Katrina Robertson.
Yes.
Welcome onto our show today. You're so welcome. Katrina, she is an inspiring individual, right? So she rose above all her life's trials and adversity. And I'll just leave it at that because I really wanted to say a little bit about herself. And when we are going through this talk show today, I'm sure you would get to know her. She's going to say a lot of things about what she's done, why she's where she is today, and why she's chosen what she's doing. I'll leave the floor to you, Katrina.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to be here and be a
Sure.
part of your show and have this conversation today. But I'm really not anybody special in particular. I'm pretty just your normal woman, mother and wife. I've been married 27 years now. We have 5 children. 3 of them are adopted, 2 from foster care. One actually we adopted as an adult. That's kind of a whole another story. My trade or my profession is a financial advisor. So that's kind of my real job is investing and financial planning. And then earlier this year, I decided to put a memoir out, a book, and now I'm doing a little bit of speaking and that kind of thing.
Ah, wow, that's great. You when I was reading through your bio, I came across the experience you had with the American justice system.
Right, right. Yeah, and so that, so I'll kind of back up just a little bit. I mentioned I've got 5 children and 3 of them being adopted from very, very traumatic backgrounds. And our journey with them was one that was not smooth whatsoever. It was a very, very difficult path. Underestimated the effects trauma can have on a child and trying to help them heal and recover. And during that time when they were younger and stuff, I was always very vulnerable and transparent on like my social media of just the hard. I mean, adoption is a beautiful thing, but it comes from brokenness and loss.
Mm.
And so I was always very transparent about that. And over the years, I'd have people all the time say, Katrina, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. You need to write a book. And I like to say, life's handed me a lot of lemons, but I've learned how to make lemonade out of it. Um, and a lot of that is just my tenacity to refuse to accept sour lemonade. And then, so my huge lemon that was handed to me last year is I was called to serve on the jury for a murder trial here in our local town, a small town in Arkansas. A lot of people out, I've never even heard of the state of Arkansas. We're next to Texas. Everybody knows Texas, but um, so very small town. There was a murder trial. It was a very, very difficult season in my life with my kids. So it was to add the responsibility on my shoulders of, uh, judging this murder trial was very huge for me. It was very emotionally taxing. And um, when it was all over, when the trial was over, another juror ended up coming back up to the courthouse to file a juror misconduct complaint against me. That the defense attorney for the trial grabbed hold of that complaint and asked for contempt of court charges against me.
Oh, no.
That then created this domino effect where the original judge in the trial then recuses himself. Everybody has to be subpoenaed back to the courthouse. And the defense attorney also wanted a mistrial.
Right.
And that I did get charged with the contempt, and a mistrial was granted. And then that started then my own kind of nightmarish of, dealing with my own trial and possibility of jail time. And it was just a horrific season in my life. And then, so once I kind of got to the other side of it, I was like, you know what? I'm going to write that book. So so it's a memoir style book, but written in a diary format. And I um, took the opportunity to kind of interweave in some of my other trials I was going through simultaneously, and some of the just kind of heartbreak I was dealing with some of my children. And kind of the theme through it all is just learning to continue to rise no matter what it is that life throws at you.
So thank you so much for introducing yourself there. Thank you so much. We know so much about you already. And from what you've said, man, you are such a very resilient woman to be able to be where you are today. Well, thank you so much. We'll go to our 5 this or that question. Are you
Okay.
ready? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So my first this or that question for you is coffee or tea? So do you like to start the day with a cup of coffee or soothing tea?
100% coffee. I drink it all day. About the only time I ever turn to tea is uh, if I'm looking for the medicinal purposes of some of it, whether I've got like an upset stomach or help going to sleep, or the ones that have like the medicinal purposes. Otherwise, no, it's coffee all day.
Great. Okay, next question then. Mountains or beach?
I'd probably have to go 90% beach. I mean, I don't like hate the mountains. Mountains are beautiful. Live in a mountainous area,
Okay.
but there is nothing more relaxing to me than the sound of waves. I could just sit and listen to waves, and it just kind of does something to my soul.
Yes, I think we're on the same page there.
Yeah.
I love the sea.
Yes. Yes. Water in general. It's
Yeah,
just soothing to me.
the sitting. Yeah, yeah. Okay, reading or writing?
Well, so that's a little bit of a toss up there. I'm obviously have a little bit of a writer in me since I wrote a book. Writing is how I kind of process things. It's kind of cathartic and therapeutic. It's how I kind of work things out in my mind. But I'm an avid reader. I mean, it doesn't matter how late it is when I finally finish up my task list,
Mm-hmm.
even if I can only make it 15 minutes, I sit down and read every evening. Um that's my just kind of close out the day.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I usually don't have time to read during the day, but so I guess writing for more therapy type purposes and reading for more relaxing type purposes.
All right, great. Thank you so much. So, sunshine or sunset?
Well, I'm not a huge morning person.
Hmm.
Uh, the handful of times I've been able to catch sunrises, they're amazing.
Mm.
Um, but oh, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go with sunset. I just especially when you've kind of had a little bit of a chaotic or stressful or bad day, and
Mhm.
then you're kind of gifted with just some brilliant colors, and you're able to kind of just exhale and say, I've made it through and it's gonna be okay.
Right. Last question, friction or non-friction?
That's a pretty solid toss up as
Mhm.
well.
Right.
Uh, as far as nonfiction, I really enjoy memoirs, reading other people's stories. Uh, it- I find a lot of inspiration reading other people's stories and just the amazing things that people are able to overcome. And and walk through. But I love getting lost in fiction as well. Almost, like I'm just going to jump into somebody else's uh fantasy world for a while. And so I usually have one of each going on.
Okay. That's actually going to bring us to the book that you wrote.
Right, right.
So is that non-fiction or fiction?
Well, it's nonfiction. It's, a memoir, and it's written in kind of a diary
Okay.
format.
Right.
Um, and was just my opportunity to just kind of, tell my story as I walked through some really difficult seasons.
Mm, Can you show us the book? Do you have it with you?
Oh, I do not. Or do you put this,
Oh,
is the
okay.
video go out as
Right.
as well? Do you post this on YouTube as well?
Yes, I do.
Oh, well, darn. I didn't know. I do not have it. I was thinking that this was just an audio. So,
Okay.
but you
Yeah,
can find it on Amazon. I'm on the cover, so it's pretty easy to find on Amazon.
on Amazon. Okay. What's the title again? Jurors
It's Juror Number 11, and
Number.
the subtitle is a memoir of the broken justice system and rising through the trials of life.
Okay, and we can find it on Amazon.
Yes, yes.
So for people that would like to contact you, how can they contact you?
Well, I do have a website. It's Katrina L.
Yeah.
Robertson.com.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's ways to contact me there. I am on Facebook. Katrina Robertson is, if you narrow it down to Arkansas, I'm pretty easy to find there as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you so much for introducing yourself and telling us how we can purchase your book or contact you. So people might want to contact you to speak at events.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I really enjoy that. Any chance to kind of like, I guess, I like to encourage people,
Mm,
inspire them.
yeah, yeah. And your story is very inspiring, to be honest. So our topic today is resilience and redemption, a journey through the justice system. So discussing your personal experiences and insights into the flaws of American justice system and your path to resilience. So having said that, you've already shared your story, to be honest, and you shared a little bit of your journey from
Right.
serving as a juror in a murder trial, to becoming an advocate and author. So, what inspired you actually to write your book or your memo?
Well, I mean, kind of like I mentioned, just an opportunity to tell my story. I think stories are powerful. I think we
Yeah.
learn a lot
Mm.
from other people's stories, and then also, a lot of times when we walk through things, we just want to like push it down and forget about it. And when writing it out, you just learn a lot.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And like I said, I enjoy reading memoirs. I learn a lot from other people's stories, and I think it's important we tell them. And through the whole entire process, I really was not able to talk any about it or share what was happening.
Okay.
But then once it was all said and done, I was like, okay, now I want people to walk in my shoes and exactly what it was I was going through and where my frame of mind and perspective was during all of it.
Okay. Oh, great. So, your book actually highlighted, or it highlights the flaws in the American justice system. So, the changes, or would I say, what changes or reforms do you believe are necessary to improve that system?
Well, I've had several people ask me that, and it's a tough question because, obviously my part of my title is a broken justice system. It's like, so what needs to be fixed? How do we fix it? I'm like, I wish I had the answer to that. The problem, the flaw is the people in the system. And there's laws and rules in place
Right.
um, to help justice prevail and to protect individuals. The problem is that as long as you have selfish, greedy power hungry people within the system,
Yeah.
they're going to find ways to manipulate those rules to their own benefit rather than what it
Mm.
was set in place um, as it was intended for. And so I'm kind of like, you know, gosh, and you'd have to read the book to, and that, that'd be a whole other story as far as exactly kind of what all fell apart within it and why I was charged with the contempt of court.
Mm-hmm.
I with any suggestion or idea I come up with, I mean, I could pinpoint other ways that there could be flaws with that as well. I mean, there's no perfect system as
Okay.
long as people are involved and people are selfish and greedy.
Okay. Yeah. Right. It's very true. It's very true. This
Right.
question actually brings us to your motherhood, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and as an adoptive mother of children,
Right.
the when I was reading your bio, I discovered, oh yeah, I'll say I discovered that they are from traumatic backgrounds as well.
Right. Right.
So how has your personal experience influenced your, advocacy work for for these children or for your adoptive children or marginalizing individuals in the society?
Yeah. I've always had just a really strong pull connection desire to help kind of the advocate for the kind of the voiceless of whether it be children or otherwise. And before, so I had always before we brought like foster children into our home and adopted, there were lots of ways in which I volunteered in different capacities, whether it was through mentoring at the school or tutoring at the children or local children's home, or I was I was a what's called a CASA volunteer court appointed special advocate, where I worked with children in the foster system to kind of be their voice in the courtroom. So I've always been kind of in that realm for a while, and I always felt a need to, do more. And so it was really more, I guess it was reversed. It wasn't that adopting these children then led me to advocate more. It was my advocating that kind of then led me to adopt, if that kind of makes sense, because it was kind of like, you know, I wanted to do more, and that was really kind of that. The most you can do is bring them into your home and make them part of your family.
That's
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, wow, 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 wow. You've got a very big heart outside.
uh, well, and um, there's the anytime you have a big heart and you love big,
Yeah.
you're always also going to get hurt big as well.
Mm,
Um, and really that's kind of the crux of why things fell apart at the trial as well,
yeah.
is I my my empathy for
Mhm.
people. It gets me in trouble all the time. um but I always say, when you love people, you're gonna end up getting hurt. Love them anyway.
Yeah.
um don't allow yourself to become bitter or jaded. And that's part of that whole choosing to rise above it. Have we're all allowed to have our moments where we cry our tears. I say, kind of sit in your ash pile. You ask the hard questions and the whys, um, but you can't get stuck there. You've got to choose to rise back up out of that and keep putting one foot in front of the other.
It's very true. Very true. So what challenges then did you face during your legal battle actually? Um,
Well, it was, so like I said, I'm a financial advisor. I work for a local wealth management firm. I'm the compliance officer. It's a small town. and my character, my integrity are, my qualities that I hold most valuable, is my character and my integrity. And I'm in a position of trust with people. I manage their financial affairs.
Right.
And so to be have allegations and accusations brought against me that brought my character in question
Mm.
was very, very devastating to me. Um, it it just physically devastating. I was very, very sick over it. That because that's something that I've worked very hard to build is my character, and
Mm.
to have that called into question was it was very, very upsetting. To be kind of slandered in that way. So that was the biggest challenge of um dealing with those emotions, and even kind of like, gosh, what really are my motives, and am I not a good person, and am I who they're making me out to be? But then stepping outside those emotions and choosing to stand on the truth.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times our emotions cause us to um, confuse what truth
Yeah.
is,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and so that was one of the biggest challenges. And then trying to kind of stay above that and not allow yourself to the natural human reaction is to want to defend yourself, to kind of go on the offensive or defensive, whichever one it is, and retaliate and attack. And the challenge is to not do that, to stay still,
Mm-hmm.
just be still.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So, so throughout this trial period and everything that happened, how did you maintain your faith?
Well, that is where I think that true faith comes in. you know, True faith
Yeah.
is, you know, being, sure of things that don't seem to make sense, where
Mhm.
evidence is of the contrary.
Yeah.
Um, True faith does not necessarily mean you're not uncertain. You can certainly have uncertainty, but the faith is when you're uncertain, but yet you still believe. You still, and by belief, I mean putting one foot in front of the other.
Mm-hmm.
The I'm going to continue to trust God, even if
Mm.
things don't work out the way I'm praying and I'm believing for.
Right.
Um, that's when you really learn what faith feels like.
Mm. Oh, that's true. That's true. That's very true. Oh my God. Wow. So, in addition to your advocacy work, yeah, how do your experience in the finance relate to your brother mission? Because I know you have a brother mission of making a positive impact on your community and society. So, what impacts does it have on it?
Oh goodness. Well, I've been doing financial advising and investment management for over 16 years now,
Are
and
you still
whenever
doing it?
I'm sorry.
Are you still in that profession?
Yes, I am. And so I've been doing it for over 16 years now, and I did not realize when I began it what like really a role of ministry it is,
Yeah.
because when you kind of get deep into somebody's money and finances,
Mm-hmm.
you really uncover some heart issues. And I've had many of meetings with clients that really kind of turned into therapy sessions. um, because and I think as in scripture, there's more scripture on money and possessions than really heaven and hell combined,
Yeah.
because like I said, it really money, where you um reveals issues of the heart and where your heart is. And,
Mm.
so I absolutely have a chance to, gosh, help people with their goals and how to get there, and help people with their giving and how to be better givers and
Wow.
better stewards.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also our company, kind of our niche that sets us apart from other wealth management firms, is we predominantly only use investments that are kind of like morally screened investments. Biblically responsible investing is kind of our foundation. And so we're able to, when you get into somebody's pocketbook, it gets real personal. So it yeah, absolutely, I have a chance to minister to them, to encourage them, advocate for them.
Wow, that's cool. So you are a Christian, definitely.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. My husband served in churches as a minister for a little over 20 years, and now he is a chaplain at our local hospital, is what he does now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow. So your story definitely would, of course, bring people closer to God, as well as inspire people out there. So that's really cool. What inspirational advice have you got for viewers or listeners out there?
Gosh, I would say, kind of like I mentioned before, that when you seek to like love people and embrace them, at some point you're going to get hurt. Don't let that stop you from loving them,
Okay.
or loving other people. Sometimes you have to draw boundaries, obviously. But you know, you may, pour your heart and soul into building a business, or and have it all just crumble. Don't allow that to cause you to give up and stop. Keep building, keep creating. You may have a you know give your heart and soul to a spouse that chooses to walk away. Don't let that become what defines you. Keep going. So I think that would be the best advice, is just keep going. And when you get to the faith aspect of it,
Mhm.
um a lot of people have the misconception that everything's going to be kind of roses and dandelions because you have faith, that God's going to work everything out in your favor because you have faith in him. And very often the very opposite is true. It's because of your faith that you face additional trials and tribulations, but don't stop. Keep your focus on the ultimate prize, which is not anything that has to do with the immediate gratification that this world offers.
That's true. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, what you're trying to tell us is that throughout your trials and adversity, you kept your faith. You didn't
Oh
go.
yeah, I no, yeah, kept my faith. Yes. Did I have moments where I cried out to God and was like, what in the world? Like I thought, in fact, and so since I know it's on YouTube, so I'll put up, like I've got, and it's backwards, but like as I was going through it, the scripture, Exodus 14:14 is,
Yeah.
be still,
Mm-hmm.
the Lord will fight for you. And
Yeah.
I remember sitting in the courtroom, and it was a fresh tattoo, so it was still raised, and just kind of rubbing it almost as if it was like braille on my skin, as the judge charged me with contempt of court. And I remember, with the tears running down my face, saying, God, I thought you were going to fight for me. So having faith does not mean that you're not going to have
Uh,
moments in time where you
yeah.
question things.
Mm-hmm.
But God's okay with that. He's okay with our questions, and he's okay if we get angry. I think he prefers that over kind of a fake smile when you're not okay. So
thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you so much for encouraging us as well to hold
absolutely.
our faith, tight and
Yes.
strong, no matter the adversity trial. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yes. Yes. I enjoy it.
Thank you so much. So, Katrina's contact details will be in the description or show notes. Everything will be shared there. She's told us where to get our book, so we should all rush now to Amazon.
Well, and I'll mention also I did do an Audible audiobook as well. In case somebody, a lot of podcast listeners are kind of audiobook people. So, but full disclaimer, I narrated it myself, and I am in no way a professional voiceover, but it was important to me since it was my story to tell it in my voice. But if you're an audiobook listener, you may be disappointed in the narration quality, but that is available as well.
Thank you so much. I'm sure we will not be disappointed. You've got very lovely, soothing voice that we will listen to. Thank you so much for coming on our show today.
And thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. And until next time, it's Shola and Katrina on Mission to Inspire. Thank you, Katrina. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Subscribe if you haven't done so. Like, follow, comment. Until next time. Goodbye.